Hello friends. Welcome to my channel. The subject of this section is UFO history, UFO organizations and why UFO are hidden. To support my channel, please don't forget to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. History of UFOs. For hundreds of years, mysterious objects in the sky and strange moving lights have been reported by many people, including the military pilots in World War II who called them Foo Fighters. In the middle of the 1900s, flying saucers were increasingly observed in the United States and other countries. Scientists at the University of Colorado, hired by the Air Force from 1966 to 1968 to study this type of aerial phenomena, could explain most of the UFO reports as a star, meteor, planet, balloon, rocket, artificial satellite, etc. Sometimes atmospheric conditions, aircraft exhaust trails, or unusual lighting conditions may produce optical illusions that observers thought were UFOs. After investigating more than 12,000 reports, the U.S. Air Force was unable to explain where the unexplained UFOs come from, but apparently concluded that the national security was not threatened by them. The emphasis of the university's team, headed by Edward Ukenden, seemed to be more concerned with the establishment of the emotional stability or instability of those who reported the sightings than with other evidence. 9 psychiatrists have examined the witnesses who claim to have encountered UFOs and even been taken aboard their craft, such as the 2 shipyard workers in Mississippi, and found that they are not unbalanced people. They're not crackpots. There was definitely something here that was not terrestrial. Dr. J. Allen Hynek agreed, and added, "Where they are coming from and why they are here is a matter of conjecture. But the fact that they were here on this planet is beyond a reasonable doubt." The Air Force, after 20 years of being deluged with UFO sightings and spending millions of dollars on their investigation, decided to drop the inquiry business and turn the project over to a Kensington, Maryland, group called NICAP. This left NASA with part of the task of trying to run UFO sighting reports, including many by its own Apollo and Skylab astronauts. By 1974, over a score of astronauts saw and photographed UFOs during their flights beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Early in the Apollo 11 mission, which culminated in the moonwalk, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins reported sightings of what seemed to be a UFO during the first half of their flight to the lunar surface. There were many more sightings by US and Soviet astronauts. On November 11, 1966, Gemini 12 astronauts Jim Lovell and Edwin Aldrin said that they saw 4 UFOs linked together, and on October 12, 1964, 3 Russian astronauts aboard Voskhod reported that they were surrounded by a formation of fast-moving disc-shaped objects. UFO organizations. In addition to NICAP, some of the other organizations that study UFO phenomena are MUFON, CAUSE, GSW, UFOs, and APRO, an Arizona non-profit scientific and educational organization, founded in 1952. UFO organizations. In addition to NICAP, some of the other organizations that study UFO phenomena are MUFON, CAUSE, GSW, UFOs, and APRO, an Arizona non-profit scientific and educational organization, founded in 1952. Why the secrecy? In their book UFOs Over America, authors Jim and Carol Lorenzo charge that the CIA has been closely involved in the collection and suppression of UFO information. Witnesses to the phenomena have been bribed, coerced, and threatened by the CIA, who wanted valuable evidence given to them alone. One reason given is that military intelligence may view the UFOs as a tool of either a known or unknown potential enemy, If these vehicles prove evasive and surreptitious, all the more reason to suspect them. The probability looms large that the minds behind these vehicles may well be gathering intelligence of their own. Another reason for secrecy may lie in the hope of obtaining knowledge relating to advanced propulsion methods and anti-gravity systems before other potential enemies on Earth may acquire it. Hence, though many nations are secretly investigating UFOs, they are reluctant to share their findings. Robert Lofton, in his book Identified Flying Saucers, claims that the Air Force became the GOAT in the effort of the CIA to debunk many sightings by pilots, radar technicians and reliable civilian observers. He thinks that the suppression of information about how dangerous UFOs can be is wrong. After citing a case where a child was burned over 50 to 60% of her body by a low-flying UFO and then taken to an Air Force hospital, no one would explain why her clothes were not burned at the same time. He also describes another burn case in New Mexico and another man who recently received a sledgehammer-like blow that knocked him unconscious by the force field of a 100-foot diameter UFO. The public ought to be told the danger. Nothing helps rumors and panic more than ignorance. Major Donald Kehoe describes in his book Aliens from Space, the real story of unidentified flying objects, the difficulties he had in 1957 in trying to get the truth from government agencies after he was director of NICAP, the world's largest UFO research organization with over 30 subcommittees in the US and abroad. According to some ufologists, the attempts at cover-up by the CIA extend to destruction of evidence that it could not confiscate. Apparently some of our nation's important leaders have been denied access to some UFO secrets in the possession of an agency of the United States, the very existence of which is classified above top secret. Senator Barry Goldwater, a retired Air Force Reserve Brigadier General and pilot with many decades of flying experience, was quoted as saying, "I certainly believe in aliens in space. They may not look like us, but I have very strong feelings that they have advanced beyond our mental capabilities." He said he was refused permission to check the Air Force files on UFOs and added, "I think some highly secret government UFO investigations are going on that we don't know about and probably never will unless the Air Force discloses them." He said that he put faith in the reports of the Air Force, Navy, and commercial pilots who reported instances where a UFO would fly near them right off their plane's wing and then just zoom away at incredible speeds. "I remember the case in Georgia in the 1950s of a National Guard plane going after a UFO and never returning. And I recall the case in Franklin, Kentucky, when 4 military planes investigated a UFO. One of them exploded in midair and no one knows why. Unleashed by the policy of glasnost, the Soviet media felt free to include accounts of UFO sightings. A TASS report of October 10, 1989, reported a large shiny ball or disc hovering over a Voronezh park. Residents saw the UFO land and 3 creatures similar to human beings emerged, accompanied by a robot. Apparently the Russians felt no need to suppress this report, which was poked fun at in Newsweek and Time magazines but not in US News and World Report. A scanned few decades ago, both the US government and the media treated flying objects as no laughing matter, which even Congress looked into. In 1966, Representative Ford responded to a rash of sightings in his home state of Michigan by calling for, and getting, a House hearing on UFOs. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel.